You can do everything right and still fail. Growing up, I never really knew what I wanted to do, really. I had things I liked to do and was interested in, and like all the other kids, I had the occasional, oh, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be an astronaut, like fantasies, but these were just short lived dreams and things that I thought were cool, but they weren't definitive, like, I want to do this for the rest of my life type of things. And while I was in school, I never had bad grades, and I probably could have been at the top of my class if I really tried. I don't really have a doubt about that, but I didn't want the attention or pressure that would come with that. Both of my parents were valedictorians themselves at their own high schools, and my older sister also was very good in school. So I felt like I had a kind of high bar set for me. So I kind of had multiple reasons why I didn't want to stand out and try to be the best too much, because I didn't want to deal with all the expectations and pressures that may have come with that. So I just didn't. And skipping around in my school time a bit, going to middle school and then going to high school, some of my friends or people that I know started to get some ideas of what they wanted to do, and I still didn't really know or was just kind of unsure of what I really wanted to do. It was all just more of the same for me. Like, I had different things that I was interested in and that I liked doing, but nothing that I would say that, like, yeah, this is the thing that I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, I remember taking woodworking classes in high school and taking an engineering class in high school where I would use Autodesk and do 3D modeling of different things. And those things were cool, but it's like, I don't know that I necessarily want to do this. And like another one was drawing. Like, I remember having a drawing class that was like super chill. Like, obviously, we had projects and deadlines, and they were usually like, I want to say like a month out, because you got what, 40 minutes a day to do something. But for that, it was, I really liked that. And this is kind of a tangent. I really liked that, and I liked woodworking too, for kind of similar reasons. Is that, like, there were more creative times where there wasn't like a hard set, you need to know this formula or you need to know about this author or book or something like that. It was just like, here's a project. For woodworking, they would give us different projects and like the specs for it, and for drawing there would be like a central theme or whatever. So we would just do that. And I remember drawing specifically, I think I had it right after lunch, so it was super chill, and just being able to take a break from the actual work that I was doing in the other classes to just chill and draw and let my creativity or lack thereof come through. So it was really nice. Like, my best projects, or my best, I guess, artistic projects, I would say, are still from that time that I still have, that I wish I could do something similar now, but it's like the time and the leisure. It's like I don't have that leisure really, or time to just be like, I'm just gonna draw for an hour today or something like that, which, that's kind of on me. But anyway, not to get too distracted from the point, just something that was interesting to me then, but I never could see myself being like an artist for a living, or doing that for a living, or for my life. And so as my high school years were coming closer to an end, more and more people I knew started getting more serious or thinking about what they wanted to do. And my girlfriend at the time was kind of a prime example, because even in high school, she was working as an assistant physical therapist, and like, that's what she wanted to do, and knew going into school, into college, studying for it, working at it on the side. Like, in a way, I was kind of envious of it, because it seemed like they knew what they wanted to do and did whatever it took to get there. And my goals and desires at the time, I would say, were superficial at best. So, for an example, I started college in 2017, studying computer science pre-COVID, and one goal I had, since I remember not criticizing my sister when she was in college, but I think kind of asking a question of what was taking her so long, because she was in school closer to around 5 years. And I forget what it was exactly she said to me, but something like, it's not easy and you'll see when you get to college. So I was like, you know what, bet. So I planned it out, and I wound up graduating in 3 years, which it could have been two, but the way that some of the courses were only offered in spring or fall, logistically I couldn't, but if they were offered in both semesters, I probably could have. And so that's what I did. And right during my spring break of my final semester, COVID hit and completely threw everything off. And I didn't have an in person graduation, but having graduated early, I felt like I had some extra time to find a job since my girlfriend at the time was still doing her undergrad, and her next step that she was planning to move to the city to finish, what she needed to do to become a certified physical therapist. So, I mean, I had time, but it was also a crunch for me to get a job and be ready for potentially moving in with her and taking the next step in life, so to speak, or what they say. And after a few months, I finally did get a good job, and it was good, but something kind of just felt off about it. And on paper, if you looked at me, I'd won. Like, I finished school early, I got a good job, I had a nice car, had a good girlfriend. It was all good, but it didn't feel like I thought it would. And as the time for my girlfriend got closer to move to the city to start school, my parents and my family were all about to move down to Florida since I already had plenty of family already down there. But one of the major catalysts for this was my grandfather got COVID and he died. And during that time, my grandmother was visiting down in Florida, and there was a bunch of travel bans or travel restrictions, not bans, travel restrictions. So she couldn't come back up. He died, so she just was like, I don't want to go back. Just do whatever you need to do. I'm going to move down here. And so my parents were like, you know what? Maybe now's the time, because, my family's been like, yo, when you guys are going to move down here for like my whole life. And so that was kind of the catalyst of that. And it did feel kind of rushed. Like, it could have gone a bit smoother. It didn't have, like, it just felt, a lot of it felt rushed to get down here. And part of that kind of played into like the timing of when my girlfriend was getting ready to move to the city. And I was torn. I was like, I if we were still living up there, I might have been more decisive about moving in with her, because where I was at, it was about an hour away from the city where she was going to study. So if I had to travel an hour to come back home for whatever reason, it wasn't too bad. But moving to Florida is a completely different situation. And, at the time I was torn. And I guess she saw my indecision. She saw what position I was in. And in a way, even if you are indecisive, that is a decision in a way. So she saw that, and, she was just like, you should probably just move down with them. Save your money. It'll probably be for the best, new start, new beginning. And I was like, all right, I mean, I guess. I don't know how things would have happened if I didn't, but, that's neither here nor there. So I moved down. I moved down with my family and continued my job, continued working. But not being with her anymore and just having this fresh start, this new beginning, I felt in a way more lost than I ever was. So, I saved up some money, and being young and optimistic and a little bit foolish, and in hindsight, hindsight's always 20/20. So I can look back now and say, maybe that wasn't the best decision, but at the time I was like, I saved up a bit to start doing some work with Amazon and trying to start my own businesses. So I quit my job. And, at the time, like, I just kind of felt like a cog in the job. But like I said, hindsight's 20/20. And while I've had different experiences that I probably wouldn't have had if I had kept the job, I feel like the safer option might have been to just stick with the job, bear with it and take whatever it is, because it was a solid paycheck. It was a consistent paycheck. It was reliable. And I didn't realize at the time that was probably the best shot I had at something like that going forward for a long time in my life or career. And I just didn't realize it. And it was, probably short-sighted, but, it is what it is. Can't really do much about it. I know, I'm sure that some people will be like, you got to make sure you have another job or have something locked in before you quit your first job. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to disagree. I was younger, so I'll blame it on my youth. But, I haven't really had the same level of security or opportunity for something like that since. And while now I've kind of reached some short-term stability or cushion, I wouldn't even say stability, just cushion, so that like 6 months or a year at best, if I stretch it, I'm okay. But I'd be in trouble if what I have going on now just stops, and I'd feel even more lost than I do now, if not worse. And, I kind of don't know what to do. I don't know what I should try to do or what I should aspire to be, because I feel like the things that I've tried, success or not, never really led me to be happy or satisfied or fulfilled or the way that I thought that they would make me feel. And so I'm worried that anything I do try will just fail, or I'll self sabotage like I had before. And so I don't want to be a doomer, but just applying to regular jobs daily for months and hearing nothing, or just getting rejection after rejection, and seeing all the shit going on in the world, it's kind of hard for me not to be. I don't want to give up hope, but it feels like every day that goes by, it gets harder and harder to have it. And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what I should do. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe this won't be a video with a happy ending or a clickbaity title with some AI slop, but it's who I am. My hope for now is this, to put it out there, and if anybody else feels like this or has gone through something similar or is going through something similar, maybe just to let you know or to tell you that you're not alone. But I feel like a lot of people probably feel the same way, or at least somewhat similar, or can relate. And I don't know what to tell you that I wouldn't tell myself, other than to just try and keep hope alive, as hard as it may be, since it feels like everything in this world is designed to crush it and squeeze it out of you. But, I think just the bare minimum for me, and what I would say, I guess, is just setting small goals for the day that don't have to mean anything to anybody but yourself. It could be just making your bed, right? Or just washing the dishes, taking the garbage out. Like, very simple things that you can control and that you can do. It doesn't have to be monumental or impactful or making $1 million a day like these social media influencers like to trick you to believe that they're doing, just to sell you a course. But anything you can do that's within your power to do, I guess try and set that as a small goal for the day. And hope that your interests and what you like to do will eventually bear some type of fruit. And I don't say that to be like the next influencer to try to monetize all your hobbies, because at some point I think, and it's different for everybody, but for me at least, at some point I think if you're trying to like monetize what you like to do, what your hobbies are, the enjoyment or passion slowly fizzles out and ruins it for you. But I mean, if it doesn't, or if you can do it in a way that it doesn't take that passion out from you, then I'd say just try it. I don't want to give up on life so long as my physical body doesn't, while my heart's still beating. And while I do have this life, there's always hope, and there's always an option to at least try to do something, regardless if it'll fail or not. And I'm saying this again, putting this out there for you as much as I am for myself. If you're already not in the best spot, then trying to do something, even if it fails, the worst that can happen is that you fail, but at least you tried. You put forth the effort. So maybe this will have a bit of a light note at the end, but just don't give up and try to keep hope alive. And I say this out to anybody who might resonate with it as much as I'm saying it to myself. But in any case, keep hope alive, try and keep pushing, and hope for better days. But thanks for watching.